What's happening, guys? Back with another video. I am trying out a new setting on my camera. It's called, the photo setting is Cinema Type D, I think. I took the saturation way down, just playing around, trying to try some different things here and see how things look. So let me know if you like the way this looks or not. I don't know, it's supposed to be more like movie-ish. Maybe not a great thing for just standing around, but gonna give it a shot. Anyway, honestly, I haven't really felt like doing videos lately, and maybe I've been a little more sporadic than usual, and it's one of these things like, it's I can't explain it any better than like what Ryan Dorr said when I was talking to him about something like this, and it's just basically like, objects in motion stay in motion, and objects at rest tend to stay at rest, right? So it's like, it's almost like anything else in life, like if you're working out or doing well in your nutrition or anything else, like when you're in the game, when you're doing it consistently, it becomes very easy. Like you just keep doing it and you're motivated and things go good. Then when you get on the flip side of things and you start taking a break and you start getting away from it, like the longer you stay away from it, the harder it becomes to kind of get back into it and do what you would normally do. So, this is kind of a little side rant. This has nothing to do with the topic at hand today, which is how many calories should you get to in a reverse diet, which I will get to soon, and I will put a timestamp where it actually begins if you don't care about the rest of the stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, sometimes you just have to do. Sometimes we just have to do something that we don't feel like doing to get back in the game. And honestly, like, motivation comes from doing. Like, it really does. Like, a lot of times we'll sit around and we'll wait for things to happen. We'll wait for motivation to come before we actually do anything. And the problem with that is, like, motivation doesn't just come out of thin air. Like, motivation comes from the actions that you actually put forth. So, like, if you're not getting to the gym, but you should get to the gym, but you're not motivated to get to the gym, well, if you just sit around and wait for motivation to happen, you're not going to get into the gym. But if you don't feel like working out, but you drag your ass into the gym and do it anyway, that is like a win. That is motivation, that builds pride, and that builds momentum. So, something to keep in mind. Now, anyway, what I want to talk about today, which I have already mentioned, is how many calories should you get to in a reverse diet? And the reason I'm doing this video is because it's a question that I've been getting from clients who are in a reverse diet a lot lately. Like, this question has been coming up over and over again. So I wanted to address it. And quite honestly, it's almost like the wrong question to ask. All right? So there is no, like, I can't just say this is how many calories you need to get to. And of course, there's tons of variables. Like, there's a big difference between someone who's reverse dieting out of a cut versus someone who is reverse dieting because of years worth of yo-yo dieting and they want to get their metabolism to a better place before they do cut. If you're coming out of a show, there's so many variables. As always, everything always depends. However, for this video, for the context of what we're talking about today, we are talking about someone who is in a reverse diet because they have a long history of dieting, their metabolism is in a bad place, and they're trying to get into a position where they have been out of a deficit for long enough that they can get to a better place metabolically and eventually cut and see some progress. So, I can throw out numbers. Like, I've talked about, like, ideally 13 to 15 times body weight before, but that's just an arbitrary number, and that's not going to be for everybody. And quite honestly, that number is almost for, like, a leaner population anyway, which is not a population I work with a lot. Not that I don't and not that I can't, but I tend to have people that have a little bit more weight to lose. So that number is going to be very arbitrary. Plus, I work with a lot of 50-something plus women. And for this population, if you've got more weight to lose and you're in this position, well, 13 times body weight may be impossible for you without just like gaining an extraordinary amount of weight that would be, it would be pointless to try to put on that much body weight, all right? So you may not get there. You may get way above it. I've had people that could never get to 13 times, and I've had people that could get to 20 plus times their body weight, all right? It just depends. But we really shouldn't be looking at how many calories should I get to. It's just the main point is you need to be out of a deficit for a lengthy period of time to put your metabolism into a better place. Now, yes, definitely the higher you can get your calories, the better off you're gonna be. Not only metabolically, but when it's time to cut, like, there's going to be more room to move, there's going to be more room to make adjustments and all these types of things. So the higher you can get, the better. That's kind of like the short answer is how many calories is as many as possible. But it's more about just not being in a deficit, because that's the biggest problem most people have, is like they're just constantly yo-yo dieting. They're always dieting, then binging, dieting, and binging. And if you saw my video that I did earlier this week, you'll know why that is just a really inefficient way to do things and doesn't get you anywhere. So the point is, like, you want to get out of this trend of constantly dieting all the time, and you want to put yourself in a position where the body has not been in a deficit for a very long time, so that when you do go back to finally go into a deficit again, that the body will actually respond. So that's the main point. Like, I can't give anybody an arbitrary amount of calories that they need to get to. It just doesn't work that way. There's no like textbook that says get to these calories and you're good. Like, it has all come through experience and working with a lot of people, seeing trends and seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and seeing kind of how it goes. But it's always going to be different for each individual, and you just always have to keep that in mind. So I try to get them as high as I can. There's a balance between continuing to get your calories higher and how much body weight you're potentially gaining, because while some body weight gain, some fat gain during the process is normal and to be expected, that doesn't mean we want to just put on a ton of body fat either, because if we're just going way above and beyond, now we just have to lose that extra weight when it is time to cut. So there's kind of a balancing act between what's kind of an appropriate rate and what's not an appropriate rate. And again, that comes down to each individual, what their goals are, if they're more interested in building muscle, all these different things, right? So there's a lot of things that go into it. So don't really look at how many calories you should get to. Try to get them as high as you can in a reasonable manner. Hold those calories as long as you possibly can so the body gets good and adapted, so that when you do go into your cut the next time, it will be much more efficient and it'll work better. And you can get out of this yo-yo dieting rut and actually get a response from your fat loss phase for once. So hopefully that helped. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will get back to you. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys later.
I'm addicted to the love that you're giving. Every minute, every day I've been craving.